Alright all, and welcome back to another video and the preview of the day 3 of the York Ebor Festival, obviously over in York. And hopefully day 3 can bring us a bit more fortune on the winners front. We were hitting the crossbar a lot today, and I do know, you look at the end of the day at 2 days of tips I've put up of these videos, haven't backed a winner, and I do apologise for that. But actually today, if you went through on a level point system with the places from Major Jumbo, Star of Orion and Dawaween, would have only been down I think 2 points or something was my calculations. And also, as I said to you guys, do go follow me over on Twitter, because you'll get a few of the Irish selections as well then, which are probably my better ones if we're being honest with ourselves. And we bagged another 2 winners over in Ireland with Rock Aroma and Anything Will Do. So very good indeed. Overall my tipping was actually up on the day, even though I didn't back a winner at York. So hopefully we'll find a winner at York. I have been going for slightly bigger priced horses. It's a bit of a mix tomorrow. I've got a few of the favourites, I must confess, and a few at bigger prices, and hopefully we can find a little bit of a mix and match. I wonder how you guys are going down below. Do let me know in terms of whether you've been succeeding or not, because I found it quite tricky, as you can imagine. Starting off tomorrow, though, with the 145, a mile 4 furlong handicap for horses rated 0 to 105, and a lot of money here for this Mark Johnson Zabeel champion, but not... It wouldn't be the first time ever where Mark Johnson would have a couple in a race and not necessarily the first string will win. And I'm going to take a chance on King's Caper at 9 to 1. It's also trained by Mark Johnson. Joe Fanning in the saddle. This 3-year-old colt by New Approach was second in an Italian Group 2 only 2 starts ago, beaten ahead with Frankie Dettori on board. Now, I've no idea how strong Italian Group 2s are, but he came back out and finished 6th to Goodwood in a handicap only a week or two later after that at Glorious Goodwood. Now, looking at the style of this sort of a horse, he doesn't look like Goodwood would really be his cup of tea, to be honest. He's a bit of a galloper, to be honest. He won 3 last year, and the reason I'm going for him was his most impressive win last year was on soft ground at Ripon when he won by 3.5 lengths. The ground is getting softer and softer as we go on over in York, so it is something to bear in mind when looking at selections for tomorrow. And I think King's Caper is a type of horse that could go well. He's getting a bit of an age allowance because he's only a 3-year-old in this type of handicap, so he's not actually as far up the weight as you might think he is. He's running off a nice enough racing weight, and I think he's got a bang good each way chance at 9 to 1 in a 4-place race. The 2:15 is the Lonsdale Cup, a 2-mile race, Group 2, and it's an open race because obviously Stradivarius isn't there. But I think my nap of the day comes in this race, I must confess. It's Nayef Road at 3 to 1. Again for Mark Johnson, Andrea Zini takes the ride this time. A 4-year-old colt has been up the backside of Stradivarius the last twice at Royal Ascot, when actually beating the rest of the field by 6 or 7 lengths, and then when second in the Goodwood Cup, only beaten a length by the great Stair himself. That form is obviously rock solid. His form from last year was rock solid. He was in amongst horses like Constantinople, who was a horse I really liked, and was third in the St. Leger behind Logician and Sir Ron Priestley, which is very good form indeed. This year he's ran 3 times, first and 2 seconds. You can't ask for much more than that. He's got stamina in abundance, and I'm really hoping they ride him quite aggressively and really play off perhaps the stamina doubts of his main market rival, Mbahar. I'd take her on, I must confess, tomorrow. I don't think the Lily Langtry Stakes was much to go on, and hopefully this horse that's been in rude health this year in this Cup races can get his day in the sun. The 2:45 is the Jim Crack Stakes over 6 furlongs. Again, going to take one at a bigger price here in the form of Lauded for Tom Dascombe and Richard Kingscote, a horse I actually backed in the Coventry when he finished 7th. He was better last time out when 3rd in the Richmond Stakes behind Supremacy and Yazaman. Now, I thought if Supremacy ran in this race, I thought he would be almost the bet of the week, to be honest. I thought he was going to be a certainty. When I was previewing this race, in one of the Racing Central videos, it seemed to be between Supremacy and Tactical. Neither of them are turning up, and I think the race is more open, obviously, than it may look. And I just think this horse finished only a head or a half length max, I think, behind Yazaman last time. Yazaman's 4 to 1. This horse is 14 to 1. The only thing to bear in mind is that this horse has also entered up for a 5 furlong race on Saturday, where he's currently 4-1. So it's just something to bear in mind. I do think he'll run tomorrow, but perhaps it's one of those, if the ground goes completely bottomless, they won't run him over 6, because he has looked like he has plenty of speed. But he won his Haydock Novice on good to soft ground. He obviously acts somewhat on this type of surface, and being by acclamation should make a decent stab of it. The 3:15 is the Nunthorpe itself. I'm not going to mess around too much. If you want to, have a go in a Battash, be my guest. 1-2, probably not the type of price I'd back him at. If I'm being honest, if it went to 4-6, though, I would back him. And obviously anything bigger than that. I think Art Power will come second, which is obviously a terrible thing to say for an 11-4 second favourite. But I think it's a race of very little depth. And I think Battash would seriously have to be off his game to get beat tomorrow. And I think behind closed doors, I just can't see it happening. The 3:45 is the Convivial Maiden over 7 furlongs, and again, I hate to be boring, but I'm going to be backing Naval Crown in this. 6-4 best price with Sky Bet. He's put in 2 decent enough performances. 3rd on debut in a strong Newmarket Novice. That was on soft ground, which showed his aptitude for running on that, because he's only beaten a length that day. And was 3rd in the listed Wingfield Stakes at Ascot last time out, when the 3-1 favourite. I think that was still a decent enough effort. He holds all the aces on this slight drop back into maiden territory, and he just holds a big favourite's chance. And I think I'd say they'd be scratching their heads if he can't get the job done tomorrow. I think Naval Crown's got a big chance at 6-4. The 4:15, a mile 2 furlong fillies handicap for horses rated 0-100, and I'm going to take an each way chance on First Kingdom at 13-2. This Frankel filly for William Haggis. Tom Marcon takes the ride. 7th on debut in her only start as a 2-year-old before winning 2 novices, 1 at Kempton and 1 at Haydock, and then was a pretty close 6th, only beaten 2 lengths behind Tickle Me Green in a French listed race at Vichy last time. Obviously drops back into a handicap here off a mark of 92, which should be very feasible, I must confess. Probably maybe a little small doubt about the trip, especially if the ground was to go soft, like proper soft, but I'm going to give her another chance at this type of trip. I think she deserves that. She was strong at the line in both her mile novices, so I think she could run a big race. As I say, 13-2, it's not a bad each way price, and I think she should go close off that type of mark. And the 4:15 is the final race in the card, a mile handicap for horses rated 0-105, and this is going to be one that I would very rarely put up in terms of kind of a poor priced each way horse, but it's going to be Finest Sound, who's currently 5-1. So it's bang on even Stevens from an each way perspective, and that's just about going to be okay for me. This Son of Exceeding Excel is running off a mark of 94 here. Now, I think, I'm not sure whether I got the race wrong or not, but this horse finished 2nd in the Britannia Stakes, beaten 4 lengths by Calusi, but was subsequently 4 lengths clear of the 3rd himself. So he's obviously a pretty good horse. Now, I thought this horse was an absolute cert last time out at Newmarket, and only finished 3rd off this mark of 94. He hasn't been, obviously, adjusted for that run. So I'm not really sure, but I thought after the Britannia Stakes, one of these sort of handicaps would just be at the palm of his hand, and I kind of still do think so. Perhaps this return to slightly softer going might actually suit this horse, despite the fact that that kind of goes against the usual Exceed and Excel sort of mould of their progeny, but of his progeny, but maybe this is just a bit of an outlier, and I do think a horse like Calusi is going to be much better back on a softer surface next time out. I think Finest Sound, if he's not in the first 4 in a race like this, I really, really will be scratching my head. 5-1, it's not a great each way price. It's not a bet I usually put up, but I just can't see him out of the first 4. I'd be really disappointed if he was. So as you can see, I'm backing a few more near the top of the market tomorrow, but still a few decent each way plays in there as well. And I'll be scanning through the Irish cards tonight as well, and we'll let people know in the morning on Twitter if I have any fancies for either Killarney or they're jumping somewhere else, because it's flat at Killarney and I'm not sure where they are jumping. It's completely gone on me there. It might be a Kilbeggan or something like that. But I'll be scanning through those cards this evening, and follow me over on Twitter if you want to see those selections as well. Obviously, between the Irish and the York tips for the last 2 days, we've been up on both days. The York tips themselves have been a little bit down, but let's try and back a couple of winners tomorrow and get on the winning sheet and then into the winners enclosure. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel down below if you haven't already. And of course, until next time, be safe, be lucky, hopefully land a few bets, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Cheers.